Good morning and good day and good evening, everybody. My name is Bert Dicht. I am Vice President of Membership for the National Space Society. And on behalf of my colleague, Larry Ahearn, Vice President of Chapters, I'd like to welcome you to this special edition of the NSS Town Hall, our 2021 Chapter Awards. So again, thank you all for joining us. I will go through my typical welcome, and we're glad you could join. And this again is part of our series of space forums and town halls. By the way, this is the second one we've done on a Saturday. We did one about 2 months ago honoring the Spun Debate participants. So it's a great opportunity to move things around a little bit. So I'll go through our typical introduction. We'll do some virtual etiquette, a few announcements, what's coming up in terms of the space forums and town halls, and then I will introduce our awards program and turn it over to our hosts. As always with virtual etiquette, for those of you who are participating, if you'd like to submit a question, I don't know if we'll be taking any questions specifically, but feel free to use the Q&A function. It's only seen by the panelists. You can also use the chat function, but I ask everyone to please be respectful because everyone can see the chat. But if you have some congratulations, things like that, cheer on the winners, feel free to do so. And it is also best to view this sometimes in speaker mode, and we'll make sure that that way we can highlight who is ever presenting. I always like to give a shout out to the National Space Society and the fact that we are a volunteer-based organization, and we rely a lot on our donations, the generosity of our members and other contributors. If you enjoy this type of programming, please feel free to donate to NSS, go.nss.org/donate-now, and I can put that link into the chat. And also we do have a post-town hall survey. It only takes a few minutes to fill out. The survey is anonymous, and it really does help in terms of our planning future events. So we appreciate that, and thank you in advance for doing that. Upcoming this week, we've got a really great space forum on Thursday, August 5th, and that is in conjunction with our Huntsville chapter, and I know Robin is on here today. But we've got Brian Matusik, Deputy Manager of NASA's SLS Systems Engineering and Integration Group. He's going to be talking about the NSS, I'm sorry, not the NSS, NASA's Space Launch System as they're getting ready for their launch, their first launch later this year. So you're going to be hearing a lot of great inside stories. On the 19th, we have David Chudwin, a longtime NSS member who was actually a college student and covered the Apollo 11 landing, moon landings and the launch as a teenage space reporter. So that should be really interesting. And Larry and I are doing a lot of work right now to get our September, October, November schedule in place. So look for those as we move forward. Right now, I'd like to get ready to turn this over for the big program today. I'd like to introduce our hosts. Of course, my colleague, they're all my NSS colleagues, Larry Ahearn, Vice President of Chapters, David Stuart, our Chapters Committee Chair, and Aylyffe Martin, our Deputy Chapters Coordinator. And they will be taking over and presenting quite a few awards today. So what I'm gonna stop sharing my screen right now and turn this over to Larry. So Larry, it is all yours.
Okay, I just want to, we're going to give out the awards now for 2021. Oh, I lost my notes. Okay, here we go. These are people that, despite the pandemic last year, they did some excellent work. And a lot of these awards will reflect what they did, not only because they did not have the physical meetings they go to, but it emphasized how they were able to do this through the internet, how they were able to change things. Like to move on to my next presenter. I see, because we're running kind of late right now. Sorry about this. The presenter for honorable mentions is our deputy chapters coordinator, Aylyffe Martin. I'd like to introduce Aylyffe right now, and she can start out. Aylyffe?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. I know that it's a very early day for some of us, and we've got dinner time happening in other places, but I'm really excited to see how many people were able to carve out this time on Saturday to join us today. Next slide, please. Who is in charge of the slideshow?
Fred, is that you?
Fred, next slide, please.
If need be, I could bring it up as well.
I think you're gonna have to. I think Fred walking his dog again.
Now it's frozen. I could see his cursor and the slides froze.
Yeah, I was not able to move the slide for some reason. I'll try it again.
Okay.
At least it's not Zoom glitching up.
There we go. Still not working, Fred?
Yeah, it looks like when I'm in Zoom, I can't advance the slides for some reason. I will see what I can do here.
Okay, let me get ready just in case. I can bring up the slide deck. Sorry, everybody, for the interruption.
PowerPoint is always so interesting.
Yeah, it's always an adventure when two different systems get to interact.
So while Fred's getting ready to try and solve that problem, since almost all of you are chapter leaders, well, all of you are chapter leaders of one form or another, except for Bert. I don't know what we've got to get him a chapter going so he fills up the rest of his time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, this past year has been pretty difficult for everybody. And we do appreciate the fact that you all have been able to keep your chapters up and functioning and doing a lot of outreach activities. And whether you liked it or not, you became quite proficient in Zoom calls and Zoom protocols. So that's very helpful. So, okay, Fred, you ready to go? All right.
Okay,
Great.
take it away, Aylyffe.
All righty, so first up, we have the Seattle Space Society. And through the pandemic, they were able to host 12 events, including 2 different types of events. One involves even being able to have an industry guest speaker, as well as 11 virtual external events. So thank you and congratulations to the Seattle Space Society.
Yep, we'll take that and try and do better next year once we get our actual physical place back.
Yeah, that definitely makes it easier.
Yes, a lot.
All righty, and next we have the Oklahoma Space Alliance, who managed to be quite prolific still throughout the pandemic with 27 events, 3 different kinds. We had virtual meetings, regular publications, helped sponsor a new chapter that was wanting to start, as well as 12 social media activities. So thank you and congratulations to Oklahoma Space Alliance.
I don't think we have anybody here from Oklahoma.
Yes, we're here.
Oh, you are?
Yep.
Yes, thank you for the mention. I saw David Shealy clap. He's the president. Cliff is vice president. And I am kind of hanging around.
You're
Oh, good. Are you
critical.
going to do some legislative events this year?
That depends on whether our congressmen come home or not, but yes, if they're here, we'll try and talk to them.
Great. All right, thank you.
Wonderful. All right, next up, we have the Huntsville, Alabama L5 Society. They submitted for us a really detailed annual report, lots of photos, conducted virtual meetings throughout the pandemic, as well as having 2 meetings that involved guest speakers. So thank you and congratulations to Huntsville.
Ronnie?
Thank you very
Robin?
much. Yeah, Ronnie's here and Robin as well as from Huntsville chapter. Yeah, it was a struggle for us too. We're used to doing a number of in-person events, including some socials that we had to delay because of the pandemic. So we're still alive, but yeah, this whole year has been a struggle. This past 12 months.
Yeah, us too. It's definitely been a challenge. Okay, next up, we have the North Houston Space Society. Again, regular Zoom meetings throughout the pandemic. It's been really gratifying to see how many of our chapters were able to kind of gracefully shift to a more virtual environment. 3 different types of events, 10 virtual external events. Thank you and congratulations to the North Houston Space Society.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, last year really started out strong for us. We, in January, we went on a tour of nanoracks, and some of our members actually got to go in the air, you know, the clean room that had the Bishop airlock that got delivered later in the year. So that's kind of a neat thing. And we started our space communicator program to try to get people up in front of an audience talking about what space means to them. And so we had 2 people complete that program. That was really neat. And we also had our first elections last year. And we have a couple of our officers on the attendees list right now. So they've been really instrumental in moving it forward, especially like Greg Stanley and Masa. They've really helped to move the program forward. So thank you all so much for y'all's support and recognition.
Great.
Wonderful.
As a suggestion, if you're doing events like that, for all you chapter leaders, if you can take a few photos, that will be helpful not only in publicizing your events and showcasing you, but showing the rest of NSS how active you are and what kind of events you're doing. So yeah, I wish I'd known about the nanoracks. That was great.
Yeah, and amen to that, but also with photos that get submitted, if they are done soon enough after the event, we can put them into the downlink newsletter for all chapters to see. We can put them on the blog, on NSS.org. We can shout it out to the world that it's not just the national organization doing things in space. Our individual chapters are active in the community as well. We're, I think, the only space-oriented organization that has that community footprint. We really have an opportunity to leverage that.
Aylyffe, maybe this is a good time to talk about the best way to get those pictures to you or to the right person.
I think actually I'd like to save that, as much as I love to talk about what I do, but I want to get through these awards. So
Sounds good.
Put a pin in it. So next up is our Middle Tennessee Space Society. Managed to conduct 14 events, 3 different types of events. 12 of them were virtual with external organizations. Managed to even work with a local school in the area. So that's always great to see, getting the kids involved. So thank you and congratulations, Middle Tennessee.
Ronnie, can you make sure Chuck Slim gets?
Yes. Let me Let me do a screen
Okay, he's
share.
not on yet, so I don't, let's move on.
Okay.
All righty. Next up is our Sydney Space Society. Wonderful to see that international flavor again. I think we have a unique advantage in reaching around the world. They managed to conduct 9 events, 2 different types of events. 7 of all of these were virtual because they face much more stringent lockdown environments than I think we saw in the States. So really grateful to see that they were still able to work in the community despite that. Thank you and congratulations to the Sydney Space Society.
Yeah. I don't see anyone here from Australia. Robert, I'll work with you to make sure that they get their award. And I'll talk to you offline. Okay.
All righty. And then we have Kahoga Valley Space Society. I apologize if I didn't pronounce that. I'm getting my pronunciation from Family Guy. But they had a good large volume of events as well. Another one that was able to fairly seamlessly shift into a virtual environment. 2 different types of events, really showing a great ability to continue to conduct business despite the pandemic. So thank you and congratulations, Kahoga Valley.
Dennis Pearson, would you make sure that Cuyahoga Valley? Dennis is on. Okay, Dennis, make sure that you hear about this. Next.
Okay.
Next.
Okay, if I've kept up, I think I have one more. No, am I done?
No, you have one more.
Sorry, I got stuck again here. Let me try it again.
Oh, gotcha. Well, in that case, I will take advantage of this pause and I will talk about getting information out to the world. Thank you, Nathan. In addition to being Deputy Chapters Coordinator, I am also Social Media Manager for the National Space Society, which means that all of our different social media channels are falling under my bailiwick. So if you've got anything that you want to have posted out across our Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or the blog, we have a form on our Inside NSS member website that you can use to get that information to me. You'll just log into Inside NSS, and in that menu ribbon across the top, one of the menu options you have is Quick Links, and under that is the social media request form.
Okay, here's your last one.
Okay, perfect. And that way you can get it to me and the rest of the social media team, we can get it out. And now back to business. We have the NSS Philadelphia Area Space Alliance, another chapter that was able to pivot into a virtual environment. And of the 12 events they conducted over the past year, there were 4 different kinds of events. We had a school event, we had science fairs, we had a conference, as well as virtual internal meetings. So thank you and congratulations, Philadelphia.
Yeah, Dennis Pearson's a member of that chapter. Dennis, you want to say anything?
Yeah, the chapter hopes to resume all its activities in 2021 or 2022 that it has done. Meaning is the Harbor Science Fair and everything else. So I'll send this material to, once I have to Earl. And one question I had to answer somebody before we go on. I just recently see a $6 million manned show, which involved the Liberty Bell, was taken from Independence Hall. Well, they took them in an area around Philadelphia. Well, that show, they didn't mention that the fact that it was probably filmed in California and they had California hills rather than the landscape around Philadelphia. Because as a Pennsylvanian, I know our landscape, and that was in Pennsylvania.
Okay, let's move on, please.
Yeah.
Next. Aylyffe, you want to introduce Gabriella? First.
Absolutely. We'll have a small interlude real quick. Gabriella is our Vice President for Development, and she's going to talk with us for a few minutes about some ideas that, some ways that we can easily help NSS.
Good morning, everyone. Congratulations. It's obviously been a hard year. I just wanted to quickly say there's a lot of ways we can be helping and supporting NSS, and I won't go into them all now, but talking of advocacy, because that's definitely a big part of what chapters can be doing. We have, as most of you probably know, a fall as well as a spring advocacy event. It's been virtual and they've also adapted, and really, really would love to encourage everyone to participate. For this particular event in advocacy, you do have to be a US citizen, but it is very important to create the good political environment for a lot of our goals. We have joined with more than 12 other organizations that all advocate for space, and with one voice under the Alliance for Space Development. We've organized to have a citizen space agenda. So if you go to this website, you can see what that looks like. It's reducing the cost of access to space, stimulating and accelerating growth of space industries and commerce, and making development and settlement of space a clearly defined part of why we are sending humans to space. So really core values of the NSS, and we hope that there'll be a big presence this year. It really makes a huge difference for congressmen to know that there's someone from their state, whether you have a speaking role in some of these calls or just have a presence. It's a really good way to get your feet wet with advocacy, and many people return year after year. I'm putting the link right now in the chat so that people can do it that way. And I'll let you get back to your programming. See you later.
Thanks, Gabrielle. So Larry.
Okay. I'm trying to get it all. Come on. Okay. Now I can. Okay. Thank you very much. Now we get into what we call the money awards. Special merits not only get a neat looking certificate. I don't know if you noticed, we tried to strip up instead of a plain background. We ended up, thanks to Fred Becker, we had what you call, I did Blue Origin. And that looks like Shepherd. That doesn't look like the Glen yet. Anyways, we've come up with a special, anyways, getting back to the thing, the special merit awards are not only come with a certificate, become a $50 cash award. And we're going to start with the first one here. This one's going to my old friend, Carl Ricco, Northwest New Jersey. They did, 15 events, 4 type events, special events, but I like the way they changed direction on these here things. He started doing podcasts, or I don't know if he's done them before, but the thing is he's doing podcasts now, which is something different than we normally do. And the thing is, that is an event where you can get a number of people doing it. But the thing that stood out, the main reason why they're getting the award is every month, Carl does a short radio presentation where he mentions NSS, which gets out on radio, a radio show once a month for 12 months. And they get over 50,000 people at these events. Carl, congratulations. You are a special merit for outstanding small chapter. You want to say something, please? Carl, I know you're there.
Maybe I'm mute.
Okay, I think we'll move on then. Next one, Fred. Phoenix chapter. Phoenix chapters, they've done, like it says on the screen, 13 events, 8 type events, 6 virtual external events. But the thing that stood out is 3 things. Number one is
I think I'm back on.
okay. Well, like says, sorry, we'll talk later, Carl. You missed your opportunities. Thank you.
Okay, I'll wait till the end or whenever possible.
Okay. Anyways, Phoenix, like I said, they did 13 events, eight types events, 6 weeks. The thing that stood out on Phoenix is what they did for legislative stuff. They had one thing where they met state legislators and it made the case for space with the state legislators. Then later on, in conjunction with Randy Giganti for the NSS Policy Committee, they actually met with their representative Andy Biggs. Then they had a meeting where they brought in our Vice President of Membership, Bert Dick, and our policy person, Randy Giganti, who again legislative action. And for that reason, we're giving the Special Merit Award for legislative action to the NSS Phoenix chapter. Mario, you want to say anything?
Yes, thank you very much for the award. I want to thank, mention about thanking Phyllis, Red Hair, Michael Mikowski, Frank Garza, Greg Rucker, and Clelia Tommy for all, they were basically a lot of big support in all this. And as well as I want to also mention about all the members of the Phoenix chapter that are, I want to thank them as well too for their participation. And a lot of the stuff that we've been doing has been virtual, and we're looking to get back and doing some live stuff next year in 2022. So I want to thank you very much for the Special Merit for Legislative Outreach Award. And just thank you very much. And we're looking forward for big 2021 and looking forward into 2022 as well.
Okay, thank you. Next award, please. Here's something that I'd like to see. Oregon chapter, they did that 108 events, 2 types of events, 98 virtual internal meetings. They are the pioneer, and they are what they call Second Life virtual reality, where you can actually come up there and construct your own space life online. Twice a week. Twice a week for all 52 weeks. And they also did some special events using Special Life all through the year. This despite what we call the tragedy. They lost one of their key members, Jean Marie Walker. And it's, like it says, I like to pay my respects because Jean Marie was a wonderful person. But I want to congratulate them. And on behalf of NSS, is Bryce Walden, you want to say something?
Thank you very much. We certainly appreciate it. I want to thank Tom Billings and particularly Cheryl York for also putting in a lot of hours on there and working to build things as well as have meetings and such. And if you want to get an example of the kind of thing we do, you can go to nssinsl.wordpress.com. And it hasn't been updated for a while, but it certainly gives you a good idea of the kind of things we can do in Second Life. And we've been doing it since like 2007, I think. So thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, our next one. Here's another favorite of mine, Guayaquil Space, Ecuador. They did, like you said, 11 events, one type of event, you're all 11. But the thing they did, they did not concentrate just on space. They found out space, how to space did like this space careers, women in space, impact of business on space, anything to do. They brought their community into space our business. We talk about rockets and things like that, but they showed how space can interact with the community. They did an outstanding job, and for that, I said the Special Merit Award for community outreach goes to Guayaquil, Ecuador chapter. And Robert Ahearn, are you here? You want to speak?
Good morning, everybody. It's great to see so many friendly faces all around, and we're very thankful for this particular award, and very happy. The support that we got from the NSS has been amazing, and we're really looking to make an impact on people's life. And again, thanks. We're very, very happy, and we wish you the best.
Okay, thank you. Now we had the last Special Merit Award, Sacramento L5. They did 16 events, 4 types of events. 12 of these were virtual meetings. But the thing that stands out and why they're getting the award is they did a Zoom meeting for Apollo 13, Breakfast on the Moon, and they managed to snag Jim Lovell, which was really an accomplishment. And I want to point out 2 things. Number one is not only this was remarkable, but they continued this whole thing. They started with Apollo 10, and they're going to go all the way through Apollo 17. And actually, just for your information, on 50 years ago, at this time in the morning, on this very day, Apollo 15 astronauts were walking on the moon. This is, so this is a special occasion for 2 reasons. And I also want, Joe can talk about it. Next week, we're going to be commemorating Apollo 15 and with another Breakfast on the Moon. Joe, you want to speak, please?
You bet. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Just one first, behind me, you'll see a postcard from the moon. And I want to thank Michael Steniken for giving me permission to show this. And it's actually this postcard, which is a physical postcard, this is a picture of it, went to the moon and came back. And that's been verified and signed by the astronauts. So I asked permission to stick that behind me as my background. And I'll be using this also as my background in next week's Breakfast on the Moon #5. And so this is a special day, as Larry said, because literally we, in addition to being able to have our chapter awards, we can celebrate a little bit that amazing event 50 years ago today, half a century, where mankind first was walking on the moon. And in this case, it was the Apollo 15. And so tune in, you probably know about the thing coming up about this time. Yep. Yeah, about half an hour after this, maybe 20 minutes after this, but a week from today. So please try to tune in, and please send your chapter members there, because the more the merrier. And I will be sending out both types of invitations. That is to say, we only actually have 3 invitations to our panelists. One is mission control. Come on, Joe, blank. Well, I guess I just can't remember things, but he is I call him Mr. Mission Control, because he was on almost all the last Apollo missions.
Jerry Griffin, Joe?
Yeah, Jerry, sorry, you're right, there it is, Jerry Griffin. And I apologize, Jerry, for that slur on your name. So please show up for that. Thank you guys for this, appreciate it. We have something else that our chapter is doing right now. I can't talk about it in detail because we don't know if we're going to actually succeed, but we have entered a contest with the National Space, I'm sorry, with NASA. And we're trying for an award regarding a way to help mine water on the lunar surface. So knock on wood, everybody keep your fingers crossed. In about 2 weeks, hopefully we'll have something more to share on that. But otherwise, thanks guys, and we appreciate it so much. Bye-bye.
Okay, I'd like to turn this over back to Ayla for one more time for pause for a commercial.
Larry, can I say a thank you and appreciation?
Go ahead, Carl, quickly.
Okay, very quickly. I'd like to say that our chapter, the Space and Astronomy Society of Northwest Jersey, really appreciates receiving this award, of course, and we promote and support the mission of the NSS in exploring, developing, and settling space. Also, we're donating our cash award to the National Space Society, and we'd like to say, let's go to the stars. That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
Oh, you're welcome.
Wow, Carl, that's very kind. That's exciting. I'll just take this opportunity to introduce Gabriella one more time for another presentation on how we can help the National Space Society meet its goals.
Hello again. Thank you, Carl. That was really a very generous thing to give back into the NSS. We all donate our time. It's always really kind of blows me away. And one of the reasons that I've stayed and then gotten more involved with NSS over the years is just the dedication is amazing. And so I want to let you know about another way that we can, well, help encourage this thriving economy that we would all love to see in our space future. There's a lot more than just donating. There's so much we can do just to get the word out on all of our amazing activities that, again, people put so much time into. This particular one is it's the first year that we had a very generous grant for a space business plan contest. It's by Martine Rothblatt, a Gerard K. O'Neill Voyager Circle member. And they generously are giving some cash prizes for the top 3 entries of $8,000, $5,000, and $3,000. So it's just an easy way that we can make sure that this is successful and that gets to a lot of people. There's not many parameters about what space business you might have in mind. They really are leaving it very open. So, you know, tell your friends if you know someone, if you have any ideas, this is the time to join the contest and also to show our very generous supporters that this is the right place for them to be doing a contest like this. So there's the link, and I will see you later.
Okay, now David, you're on. Dave Stuart.
All right, so Fred, bring up the slideshow again, please. So this is a fairly new chapter, the Greek New Space Society. We were looking through their activities during the awards determination period. And the interesting thing about them as a new chapter is that they have taken the opportunity to kind of go in a different direction than most of our chapters. They've taken a much more technical approach in exploring some of the technologies and entering into agreements and discussions and events with other organizations and their own to promote space technology and some very specific space technical events. They're getting this particular award as the Dave Dunlap International Chapter Award because Dave Dunlap was a champion of what we call the world chapters, which we all being on this planet, you know, we forget about borders, and Dave was very interested in trying to get all of the countries from around the world involved in space activities. And unfortunately, he was a victim of cancer and died a few years ago. And we named this award after him. And the Greek New Space Society chapter is an example of that kind of, what would we say, spirit of opportunities. So one of the things that they did that because of COVID, NASA had a COVID space challenge, a space apps challenge, and they did a hackathon with a variety of different people in their area and around Greece, which was something that none of our NSS chapters in the US picked up on. And that was a 2-day event. They pulled that off all on their own initiative. Then they started a program called the Greek New Space Society, a New Space Pioneers program for students around Greece, getting students and young professionals involved in the technologies of space and trying to create a pathway for Greek students to be involved in the space program. Now they're unfortunately a small player in ESA, but they have the potential of becoming a big player. But then part of their diversity is they created an alliance with the Lunairs Research Station in Poland, and which is a completely different kind of opportunity. And that exemplifies the diversity that they've taken on within their chapter for being a chapter that's only a few years old. They've done numerous other outreach activities with business analysts from Munich. So Stenik, you should try and get in touch with them. Since you're doing history, you can start doing a history of what they're up to. They're involved with some architectural designs. They're involved with organization, International Mars Space Analog Virtual Missions. And that's just a small sample of what they have been up to. And they have really stepped up as a new chapter, and they are deserving of the Dave Dunlap International Award for Excellence. So
There's nobody here, David.
Here from Greece. I know they were going to try and make it.
No, they're not. There's nobody here from Greece right at this time. We'll work with Robert and see what we can do about that offline. Okay.
Yeah, I saw some emails that they might be able to make it, but I didn't see anybody on the call.
Okay, we'll take it offline then, you and me and Robert.
Right.
Okay.
So next, Chicago, one of our perennials, the Chicago Society for Space Studies. CSSS is what many of you people have heard it referred to. They are almost always in the running for one of these awards because they're so active and so prolific. They've gotten kind of a routine down for what they're doing. Jim Plaxco, who's on the call, is also a space ambassador. So he solar system ambassador. He also is one of their main presenters for all of their events. This particular photo here is of a chapter meeting. I don't know, Fred, if you have one of the other photos that I sent to show what they were doing. They're just prolific speakers, and they are an example of what a chapter can do in reaching out to vast numbers and a diversity of groups, students, professional organizations. They've developed kind of a list of organizations that they hit every couple of years, and through that they always find new organizations to go and talk to. They actually do more events than just the 28 that you see there. And Jim in particular has gotten well enough known that he actually presents to some of our other chapters. That poster that you see on the slide is actually for Huntsville. So, and a couple of weeks ago, he gave a talk at the town hall. So he's wearing multiple hats. His enthusiasm for space activities is unbounded. And he is an example of one of those excellent speakers who knows the topics and knows how to give a presentation. And I certainly encourage everybody here who's a chapter leader to take a look at what Jim does. Unfortunately, Jim doesn't share that many of the other speakers' photos. I know two other people speak quite often at events in Chicago area. We need to get them on the town halls also, because they're quite accomplished in their activities. Chicago has been doing this for many, actually decades now. So that's why they know how to do it. They know how to be a strong chapter. And I expect that they will always be in the running for the Excellence Awards. So Chicago, CSSS, congratulations.
Thank you very much, David. I just want to take a few minutes to say that our Speakers Bureau has been our key outreach and educational vehicle. And it's been really successful in our efforts to grow our audience and particularly to reach new audiences. When I started the Speakers Bureau a long time ago, it was just myself and our chapter vice president, Larry Boyle. Since then, we've grown to 8 speakers, and I would like to acknowledge each of them because it's really a team effort. And in the photo that you're using, that is a presentation being given by Larry Bartosik, who is also a member of our Speakers Bureau. So I want to say thank you to Larry Bartosik, Larry Boyle, Dale Delutri, Francis Delutri, Gerald Jackson, Jim Kovac, and Kent Nebergall. To learn more about our chapter and our Speakers Bureau, just visit chicagospace.org. The URL's above my head. And I would like to also add that now 4 of our 8 CSSS speakers are also NSS space ambassadors. So thank you, everyone, and thank you, David.
Yes, well, thank you all for your good work. I encourage all of the other chapters when they have some time to try and watch the Chicago people in action. For United States audiences, they do an excellent job, and that's why they get the Excellence Award. And occasionally, as in the past, they've gotten Chapter of the Year. So great, congratulations, you guys. Next, please. Nashik Avinash, our whirlwind chapter leader in India. Avinash has been with NSS for a number of years now, and his chapter has grown in diversity of events, types of events, and number of people that they reach. They've participated in World Space Week. They ran a full week of activities. They had a number of NSS leaders, a number of world leaders come to that event. They also participated in Joe Bland's Breakfast on the Moon. They've done multiple types of presentations. As in this photo, you see students, but he's been at universities. The upper left photo, you'll see him at Avinash at a convocation. He's a nonstop presenter and trying to get education out about space to all of the people within India, especially with them having such an advanced space program. It's very important for the students and college and university people to know what kind of activities they have in their future. And Avinash keeps learning every year about new things going on within India and spreading the word. They have risen up from a small individual effort into a much larger effort. And if you come to ISDC next year, you can talk and meet with Avinash in person and learn some of the tricks of the trade, so to speak. So Avinash, congratulations, and share it with the rest of your chapter. You have a few things to say?
Thank you very much, David. And thank you, NSS, for acknowledging our small efforts, what we have been doing in India. Our chapter is a very small chapter and very young one, hardly 5 years old. But fortunately, we have been getting award from NSS every year. This is the fifth award in a row from NSS for Nashik India chapter. Our flagship event every year had been the World Space Week from 4th of October to 10th of October every year. And we have been inviting the top class, all the scientists and engineers from all over the world to present their work particularly to the students. And we are so happy that last year it had been only a virtual program because of pandemic. And we had speakers from NSS and NASA and Indian Space Research Organization. And we are really happy that we could do it on a global scale with thousands and thousands and thousands of viewership streamed live for this program. And of course, throughout the year, we have been doing these activities, particularly for the students from the rural areas and backward areas, they know the sky. They visit the sky every night, but they don't know how to do it or how to make use of it as a space technology. So we make our point so that the students from rural areas and backward areas are enlightened on the effects and opportunities of space technology for their career, for their education, and for their own excellence. So thank you very much. This is the 5th award in a row, and I hope with the support, with a very strong support of Claire, Larry, David, Bert, and all these people, they have been giving us encouragement to do whatever little we can for our chapter and for the space technology. Thank you very much. Thank you again.
Thank you for all of your work. It's an example of what a chapter can do with some perseverance and time to be able to devote to doing outreach within their communities, community meaning the larger community. So thank you for all of your work.
Thank you.
All right, Fred. Most of you are very familiar with our clan of folks down there in North Texas. You should get familiar with them. They're almost always in the running for chapter of the year. If they're not in running for the chapter of the year, it's because somebody's been sick or something. They are prolific. They are dedicated. They have shown how to do outreach and activities and education within their region par excellence. Now the photos that you're seeing on this particular slide, in all the photos that I sent to Fred, those photos were events, plus the other ones that I sent were ones that they managed to shoehorn in within the first 2 months of last year before COVID shut the in-person events down. So highly motivated, highly active in-person outreach is one of the characteristics for North Texas. As COVID came on, of course, they had to shift to virtual. That only slowed their presentation slightly. They made a fairly quick transition to virtual events and continued on and a prolific list of events throughout the rest of the year. And last week they had, I think, your first in-person event after COVID. Was that correct, you guys? Yeah, at Moon Day at the museum there. So they're back up and running. Can't slow them down, which is good. We don't want to slow them down. We want to find, we need to go and have a little documentary crew to follow them around so that we can get a working plan to see how they do all of this stuff in such short order. I could go on and list dozens and dozens of activities that they've participated in, including some legislative ones. You know, they are in Texas, so politics is a big thing, and they do put their hands in on that also. So that is something that over the next couple of years, the rest of you chapters need to think about also participating in, either in a very small way or a large way, as is political opinion, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that's coming up that involves legislation that will affect the future of space activities. And I expect North Texas to be giving presentations about a lot of those things, especially since SpaceX is, they are in Texas, SpaceX is in Texas, North Houston's in Texas. You know, all of you Texas chapters need to keep your pulse on SpaceX down there in Boca Chica, and maybe set up a display outside of the fence at SpaceX. So again, North Texas is a shining example of group participation. They have developed a cadre of members to go out and assist in presentations on a variety of different places and a variety of different venues. And that is exactly why they are receiving the Chapter of the Year. Now, the Chapter of the Year award, we named the Robert Compton Chapter of the Year award after our friend in California who devoted his life, chapter member, chapter leader, devoted his life to researching and developing space. In this particular case, it was rocket engines, and unfortunately one got away from him, and he perished in his own endeavors. But he was a dedicated person, and that's why we call this the Robert Compton Chapter of the Year Award. So with that, Ken Ruffin and Aylyffe, congratulations, you guys, again.
All right. David, thank you so much for that very flattering, I'm not sure if I can call it an introduction, or you pretty much told the whole story. I just, well, for those who may not know me, and I still see David's face on the screen, so I don't know if anyone can see me.
I can see you.
Okay. All right. I'm Ken Ruffin, chapter president. They keep electing me. So, and I actually did take a break for 3 years where Sean was chapter president. Sean Freeman was chapter president, and he's on the call. Cynthia Wisenand, Dr. Cynthia Wisenand was chapter president 1 year, and she's on the call. And of course, Aylyffe Martin is also a past chapter president. And I say all that to say that, David, as you pointed out, it is truly a team effort. Through the years, I've been a part of NSS and the chapter for 11 years now, and the chapter has just grown in quality and quantity through the years. We've gotten more and more knowledgeable, dedicated folks. And I have to name some more because team effort is really an understatement. I have to give credit to our membership director / webinar director, Bill Byram, who's also on the call. He's the one who not only set up the virtual presentations for our monthly meetings, but also for some events with, being hosted by outside organizations, whether it's schools or what have you. And, it just goes on and on. Pradipta Sharista, who's also on the call, is one of our directors for social media. And, Grace Raber, our secretary, is also on the call. And, the same way these people are on the call, and there are even more, active members in addition to all of us. These are the main participants in our chapter events. And David, as you pointed out, yes, we did participate in Moon Day a week ago today.
and first in-person event, as you mentioned, since COVID started. And hopefully, of course, we'll be able to continue in-person events. So, you know, it's this just being able to work with my North Texas team, and North Texas is the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and beyond. For those of you who may not be familiar, it's an absolute privilege for me to work with this team. I guess the last thing I need to say is it's been, I guess, really flattering also that during or since the pandemic began, whether it's 2020 and even this year, our total number of members has remained basically constant. You know, I was really concerned early in 2020 that membership might, you know, drop off significantly. But we did, of course, lose a few members. That happens, you know, every year. But we've gained nearly as many members in 2020 during the pandemic, and also during 2021, which, of course, I won't discuss now. So, well, you know, that's a discussion for another year. So, thank you to the NSS Chapters Committee, David and Larry and Aylyffe, you know, for recognizing us. And you know, it's just appreciated beyond words. So I can't say enough, but I'm going to stop anyway. So you know, thank you everyone, and thanks to all of you in the chat for the well wishes. It's all greatly appreciated, and I hope I didn't leave anybody out from the chapter, because we've got even more active chapter members. It's just amazing.
Well, thank you, Ken, and thank you to the whole chapter. Sean, a number of the people who have stepped up into NSS are chapter leaders, and a number of the people that are leaders within NSS have come from North Texas. And I will also point out that a good number of the NSS leadership started out in chapters, and active chapters is where the interest and desire is first started and kindled and driven forward to try and get us all into space exploration and eventually space settlement. So again, congratulations, North Texas, on job well done. And we will see you in North Texas in 2 years at the ISDC, because that's where ISDC, the International Space Development Conference, will be held. Next year it's in Washington, DC. And the year after that will be north side of Dallas. So thank you all, and great job, folks. Larry, back to you.
Okay, before we go on to the final award, Gabriella, is there one more commercial coming? Or are you done? Gabriella?
Yeah, hi.
Go ahead.
My last comment is just, again, it just shows what a sense of community NSS has been able to provide, this platform, you know, not only for people who are into this kind of stuff, you can, you know, find like-minded people, but also to, you know, further all of these ideas with the conferences and all these events that by the chapters. So just a big plea to support NSS. It's now a different landscape than it used to be, with lots of space organizations popping up and everyone sort of jumping on the bandwagon. But, you know, NSS really has been there from the start. And, let's not forget to be active members, you know, check your membership and make sure that it's, you know, renewed, and encourage your chapter individual members to join at the national level. It really makes a difference. And kind of now more than ever. We had a hard year, all organizations did, with nonprofits, and donations were generally, varied, but it's such an exciting time, and we really want to make sure that it's like the NSS voice that keeps being a prominent one, and continues being there for thought leadership. So I'm going to put both the donate and the join link in the chat, and you can also find it, of course, anytime on the NSS website, which is newly redesigned, nss.org. Thanks.
Yeah, one more thing I'd like to add to that is another way you contribute, and I expected you to say something about it, is Amazon Smiles. If you sign up for Amazon Smiles, and Gabriella could probably send the link to the chapters for that. Anytime you buy anything for yourself on there, there's a little percentage of that goes back to NSS if you set it up right. I think Gabriella can send you the link to that. I think you put it in the chat, and we'll follow this up.
So Larry, the Amazon Smiles program will be discussed more at a chapters assembly and an all chapters meeting, because there's a lot of details to it that just take too much time to explain than to try and cover here.
Okay, now we get to the final award of the morning, afternoon, evening. And this is for the worldwide coverage of chapters for the Downlink newsletter. And she also supports a lot of stuff which she's done locally. But the big thing is, I asked her if she can do a picture and a paragraph for Downlink. And she's done that in spades. It's every issue of Downlink, there's always at least 2 or 3 things on there, but she does more than that. She actually sends things to the blog. She's actually written for Ad Astra. She's done more than, and she doesn't just ask the chapters what they're doing so she can put it in Downlink. She, because of the virtual nature of the meeting, she actually attends all these meetings that she reports on. And for that reason, I'd like to be able to declare McMurray Chapter Advocate of the Year Award to Robin Scott. Robin, you would like to say something, please? Robin?
Thank you, Larry. I want to thank the National Space Society so much for offering me this Claire McMurray Chapter Advocate of the Year Award. I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to work with NSS chapters within their collaborative, congenial, and caring communication environment. NSS chapters are inclusive, and they offer participation to all age groups. I have talked with and felt Claire McMurray's exuberance for NSS chapters. Wow, what a wonderful example. I've also found Fred Becker a wonderful NSS resource to ensure the accurate relay of communication. He has simplified things for me so much to get them across within these communication environments. I'm thankful to Ronnie LaJoy, who connected me with NSS chapters VP Larry Ahearn, who has a passion for NSS chapters. It's wonderful when I have the opportunity to talk with him because he just puts it out there. It's all about chapters. I love this stuff, and he sets a precedence for it. You know, what else can I say? You know, it's more than just, you know, that these things are done and it's all about space. It's about the people and the people caring about things and advancing space. So, you know, I consider being an NSS member is a first class ticket to being in the know of space events. Just thank you so much.
Now we come to the end.
Great. Congratulations, Robin, and thank you for all of your work.
And
you're
also,
doing it on-
David
you're doing it on
Stuart and Aylyffe Martin, just thank you for doing all this today. I realize that you put a lot of time into all of this. Just thank
Fred,
you.
you can stop screen sharing now. Okay, I just want to point out at the end here now, chapters are the lifeblood of NSS. While NSS does things on the greater stage nationally and internationally, it's the chapters that get down in the communities and actually build the groundwork for NSS. They built the communities out there, and the communities actually tell their elected officials, they tell their community events, and they are the basic thing. These are the people that actually do. Many of our leadership, at least 2/3 of our leadership of NSS came from the chapters. The chapters are key to the NSS, and we need to keep that going in the future. I will want one more thing I want to say. Of all the chapters that were recognized, plus about another dozen or more chapters that got their chapters annual reports in on time. You're all winners, because all the chapters who got their reports in on time, we are going to be sending, you'll be next week seeing a letter. You are going to be getting patches that are, 2 of the patches are NASA patches, and one of the patches is a specially designed NSS patch. You're going to get 3 copies of each of those patches for either giving away to your own members who work so hard on your activities, or using for outreach. Activities of your chapters, and keep up the good work. And I'd like to turn this before, is there any last comments by anyone before we turn this over for close to Bert?
Yes, Larry, since you brought up chapter leaders with NSS leaders, I want to point out that next year is the elections for new board members for the National Space Society. And it's important for the chapters to look at who they might like to represent their area as a regional representatives. The regionals are not allowed to run multiple times, so there's new regional members on the board of directors. And this is a time and a place where chapters can get their voice heard directly at the board of directors level by running for the regional seats. And we rarely have competition, which is a sad thing. I think last go around, there was only 1 regional seat that had 2 people running. But this is a prime place for your chapter and you representing chapters to have your voice heard in the bigger structure of the National Space Society. So discuss that amongst your chapters, pay attention to what's coming up. You all should remember what region you're in. And by the way, regions do not relate to the chapter districts. Regions are a construction from way back when we had a different layout. So it's on the NSS website. You have to kind of dig for it, but most of you who've been around know what region you're in. But I certainly encourage you to take a look at running for the board of directors in the regional positions. Well, thank you.
I'd just like to add one thing to that. Is anybody that's interested in running regional, please contact me. I can help them along. And with that, I'd like to, no further questions, turn it over to you, Bert, for the closing.
Oh, thank you very much, Larry. And before I do the closeout, I just want to extend my congratulations to all of the chapters and individual awardees. When we recognize chapters, we are recognized a unit, but you realize that the chapter work, all the things you're doing to engage members and promote space settlement, promote NSS, is done by people. So I just want to thank all of you. Larry said, made some great comments about the importance of NSS chapters. And as the VP of membership, one of the most important things we can do when it comes to attracting new members, retaining our current members, is engagement. And you are doing just a magnificent job of that. So I do want to thank you all for the great work. I would like to thank Larry and David and Aylyffe for hosting and putting all this together. Again, celebrating the great work is something we should be doing on a regular basis. And you can see by all the activities, it's just an amazing job what the chapters are doing. So thank you all for that. I'd like to thank Gabriella for also telling us some other opportunities within NSS related to our advocacy, related to donations and membership. So thank you, Gabriella, for making sure those messages go through. And of course, thanks Fred Becker for all you do to support all these space forums and town halls. We couldn't do it without you. So as I close out, I would like to say one other thing too. We plan on making these space forums and town halls regular, even though we hope to get back to live activity in many areas. We're going to be continuing these. And when you see all the great work that chapters are doing, I would like to invite the chapters to be part of our regular, regular programming, meaning this coming Thursday, we're doing an event in coordination with Huntsville. We've done previous ones with Chicago. So we would love to have, if you're doing something virtual, maybe we can make this and combine this into a single town hall or space forum. And I'll coordinate that with Larry, and maybe it's a way for us maybe once a month to highlight a different chapter to the entire NSS membership. So keep that in mind as we move forward. I'll be reaching out to you. As we get ready to close, I'll just share my screen one more time.
Bert,
Yes.
before you go, I just want to point out something. I just found my note here. I should have said this at the beginning. Chapters in the last year did more. They reached physically or virtually reached more than 20,000 people. They also by TV, radio, print media, and social media reached almost 1 million people. So chapters have a big impact. I should have put this up front, but thank you anyways.
I couldn't say it. We can repeat that many times because it's absolutely true, Larry. A tremendous impact, and we want to make sure we keep that going, and we want to make sure that chapters get promoted for all the incredible things they're doing. So let's see if we can move forward and do some partnerships. And I welcome any outreach to me to discuss that. But we'd love to have some joint activities with with NSS itself and the chapters in terms of our space forums and town halls. I know you're anxious to get back to in person, but that doesn't mean you still can't have some hybrid activities, meaning a mixture of virtual and a mixture of in person. So again, everyone, I want to thank you for joining us on a Saturday. We haven't done this, like I said, we've only done this once before. We'll probably be doing it again in the future. I know our colleagues on the West Coast of the United States got up very early, so thank you for doing that. But I appreciate all the participation from around the world. So I want to thank you again for attending. Have a great day for those of you who are finishing, starting the day. A great evening for those ending the day, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe, everybody. So thank you all. Take care.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Yep.